October 10th, 2025 changed the trajectory of Behind Every Door forever. And that was the day that we received a $4.3 million gift.
I cried. I was like, oh. When things like that happen, you know God is in this, because there's no other way to explain a $4 million gift at the end of this.
It was a miracle, and it was incredibly generous, and it was a lot of people that cared about Behind Every Door. We had raised 80% of the money, but that last 20% was hard.
This particular family foundation believes in our mission, and they've come alongside of us to bless us in a major way.
We needed it, and God answered the prayer.
No.
We first said no because it didn't fit our model. Our model was to work inside an apartment community where people could walk to our door and we could walk to their door.
There was absolutely no reason whatsoever for us to walk in and take over that property, but the leadership kept feeling a very strong pull.
Hey, we can own this, and we can control and do what we want, and we're not at the mercy of the owners.
We prayed about it, and eventually we did come back and say, okay, we will pursue this deal, but here's our terms. And we laid out our terms, which basically included a 3-year time frame for us to, before we had to close, and could allow us to raise some money and see if it was feasible. And if we couldn't raise the money, we could walk away.
It was a lot of money, and it was a huge step out.
This was going to be 4 times as much money as we'd ever raised in a single year.
Our capital campaign started off at $6 million. Over this pandemic, grew to about 14 and a half to 15 million.
I didn't know if we were ready for that, but I was excited about it.
This is our version of MTV Cribs. We're calling it BED Cribs.
We didn't have this in our strategic plan, but God had it in His.
This was the Lord calling us to what we could now do best. You know, we've learned. We've served here, we learned this. We served here, we learned this. And now we're ready to take on this huge challenge. Just because God calls you to do it doesn't mean it's going to be easy and smooth.
Nobody anticipated a pandemic. Nobody anticipated the inflation that came along with it, and the construction costs on average going up at least 33%.
The city of Dallas hit us with some fees that we didn't know that was a part of the deal.
Part of that city had been touched in so long that when you opened up the ground, a lot of the pipes were bad.
$100,000 storm drainage issue that we had no idea needed to be done, and the city of Dallas came along about the middle of the project and told us, by the way, you have to do this.
Going back and forth with, approvals with the city cost us about 2 years. Starting the capital campaign, raising about 8 to 9 million, and then it hitting the news that we raised it. And the community looking at that community center, not seeing anything happening, was a big barrier. The community was questioning what's behind every door here, or were they just really just trying to raise money and pimp our community.
We knew God was touching this project. We knew He was pleased with us going down this road. And even though we knew we was going to hit some walls, hit some adversities, we were not going to be stopped.
So we had to get a long-term note. They wanted me to guarantee the note. Well, I was super excited about everything except signing and guaranteeing a $3 million plus note. I just knew it was the right thing. I knew God was in it. I was okay with signing that guarantee.
Debt is like being handcuffed. You can't really operate in the fullness of who you were created to be.
When I accepted being CEO, I was also accepting helping Behind Every Door overcome $3.4 million in debt.
Romans 8:28. All things work together for good for those who love God and who are called to His purpose. Great leadership starts with great character, and Darren has unbelievable character, and he's a great leader, and we all trust him.
Darren was right there just saying, God's going to provide.
Darian kept continuing to lead with prayer, lead with seeking the Lord, and encouraging everybody.
He's caught in the middle, so he has to carry the stress of the day-to-day and the mission. It's a tough job.
And there's so much wisdom and instruction in the book of Proverbs about finances and money. And people think the Bible doesn't talk about it, but it does. And getting out of debt for this organization, there was a lot of trust. The board was very confident that God was going to provide. He was going to answer. And he did.
He knew what we needed in this situation, and he gave it to us.
We learned so much in these first, I would say, 20 months of being open at Cedar Crest that allows for us to now become who God has called us to become in this new season. So I feel like we can fully unlock that and reinvest into those things that are really purposeful for us to do so.
Our wins, our wins, our wins are behind every door's win. Are behind every door's win. And to God be the glory. And to God be the glory. Let's go.
What we're doing, this model that we've created, it should be duplicated all around the country. There should be behind every door in all 50 states, somewhere in some city, making a difference.